Hello there, and welcome back to the Ottomans. Last time we declared war on Austria, and, well, a lot of people actually joined in. As you can see, we have Poland, we have Brittany, Aachen, mostly just small fries, but Naples is kind of an interesting target. We also did vassalize Northumberland, so that is a positive thing. We have them vassalized, but as a result, England ended up in a war with us, and are currently the only member of the coalition against us. I'm also very tempted to vassalize Munster, and potentially go after a province of Naples here, probably something with with uh, with Austria as well. I'll probably just hand over to vassal in this case, and as such, what we'll probably do as things are currently standing is vassalize Munster and kill off France, or take a secondary war with France before we actually go and try anything that would actually reduce our aggressive expansion. So for the time being, we'll just go straight ahead, finish our war with Austria, and then I'll get back to you. We'll see how it turns out. As you can see, Asteria actually ended up getting that province, so that is of course good. And also, I'll just keep my army here for the sole purpose of having a fairly good way of backing up anything that, or in this case, any province that would actually cause trouble. We do not want to do Yorkshire, as you know, simply because of the fact that I'll be selling it to Northumberland, hopefully, as soon as the war is over. We'll see how that actually turns out. But for now, as you know, we'll just continue the war with these guys. We'll also hopefully get the siege of Maria done fairly soon. But for the time being, there's not much we can do except for just wait. So we'll just get right on that, and we'll see how it all turns out. Should be fairly interesting. Hopefully, we'll be able to win. But yeah, I think we will. So we'll see how it turns out. This is kind of interesting because the Poles actually attacked us here, and this is a battle that started this day. So they are actually 2 morale points behind us, and as you can see here, that's due to our ideas. We do have the military drill, we do our army tradition, we have prestige, being pious, but also the fact that we have that army reform event. So that makes our army fairly scary for, everyone in this case. We'll take that piety, no real reason to waste it on anything else. And I think also now it's fairly safe to say that we can just split up our army and go for, sieges everywhere rather than just not doing anything. And in this case, as you can see, we have almost won the war. All that remains is to do a little bit of waiting, destroying these smaller, I guess I should call them smaller provinces. And also, of course, go for the full annexation of Maria, just get that one out of the way. It'll give me a little bit of aggressive expansion, but I hope that it's not enough to actually trigger any revolts. Once again, that's not something that I can promise. It seems like the French are actually at war with Naples here. I'm probably correct in that statement. Tuscany, France, and Provence. So, yeah, the French are actually in this war, and right now they are doing the sieges here. So we'll be moving these troops up to, I guess we'll just keep them in Bari for now, and then we'll decide what to do with them. But for now, we'll allow the sieges to slowly but surely finish up here. And once they have, I guess we'll go for, France. So, that's the plan. We'll see how it works out. I don't really see any reason to drag this war out anymore. We have what we want here from Austria. The only thing I'm a little bit worried or considering here is if I should actually go for anything against Naples right now. They aren't that big, so it's not really that much of a priority. Rather, it's taking out France and England. And to do that, I need to sort a couple of issues out. The first one is how many diplomatic, thingies do I still have? I don't actually have a single one that's free right now, and that is of course kind of a scary thing to consider. But what I might actually just end up doing here is actually go for a vassalization of the Pope, the Papal State. By vassalizing them, I can then use them for, eating Naples and such, and I can also then go through the annexation of Ferrara here, who actually hates my guts due to the fact that I have been annexing vassals. So I think we'll do that. We'll annex Ferrara and simply basically use them to our advantage. We'll fight France, feed Burgundy, and most likely Guyenne. I probably won't get another French vassal. We'll try to take the coastline just to make sure that overseas colonization is kept to a minimum. I don't really want these guys to run off, as you might imagine. So let's see what we can actually get out of Austria. They'll actually be willing to give me this deal, and that is actually a fairly good deal. So, big question here, are they my rivals? Secondary big question, do I need them as my rivals? Third big question, I probably do. So, we'll just do that. As I said, I would like to say something from Naples, but right now that's not really that important. 84 diplomatic power for this peace deal sounds fairly fine to me. what we will be doing, of course, now is selling the provinces that I don't want. In this case, Atlanta will be sold to Ferrara, and then we'll be moving our troops over to the French border, and we will be fighting them. Due to the fact that I have truces now with basically most of the world, that should make it fairly easy for me to actually, well, get the results that I want, I guess I should say. But as you might imagine, it will make things far simpler. And also, another war and then Styria is done. We'll probably go for Venice, simply take Istria here. They're allied with Lorraine, Austria, and Augsburg. So it's kind of interesting or tempting right now to, right before the French war ends, to keep these 14,000 troops in this area here, and then simply use them for the sole purpose of fighting Venice. So what we will be doing here is, of course, setting up our troops, and I'll just do that, send them to France, and then I'll get back to you. We also read Military Tech 14, the Tenail, which gives a increase in combat width by 2 and infantry fire by 0.5. I can also, of course, build a Tenail, and I'm currently at the exact same level as France. I still have that little boost, so I should be fairly well equipped to fight them. But it's also kind of scary that the fact that if my memory serves me correctly, they get new units at level 15. And that is of course scary because those units will definitely be stronger than mine. And so I need to try and pick myself some, well, obvious and beneficial battle zones, battle areas, whatever you want to call it. I need to fight on my own premises, and that could potentially be kind of difficult, but it should be possible to drag off. So as you can see here, Northumberland will take Yorkshire, and with that they do have that border with England that we need, so that problem is solved. I'm very tempted actually to go for war against Aragon here because of the fact that they ally with Flanders and England. England I have a truce with, so they can't actually butt in, to put it that way. I should probably also do some more in diplomatic tech, simply to get my my trade money up. But I think we'll just completely ignore trade because we will be using all diplomatic points in wars. We'll be doing some pretty serious conquests now that the time starts out. And we also will have 100,000 troops on the borders of France and 15,000 in this area here. So I'm pretty sure we should actually just declare on Venice about as soon as we declare on France, just to be on the safe side that the Ferraran army actually stays in Ferrara and don't end up in France. Because if they do that, then things will definitely be difficult. But if they just stay in the French lands, or Italian lands as I actually wanted to say, things should be fairly fine. But for now, we'll go for quite the offensive here. Potentially, we'll also go after Aragon if we can somehow pull that off. So basically, the aim of this will be to take Istria from Venice, but potentially Treviso too. I think I can vassalize them if I take 2 provinces. We'll check how much war score that's actually required. We'll also go for as many, well, French provinces that we can. Probably try and get Burgundy these 2, 3 possibly. Go for 1, 2, 3 perhaps here. I don't know. I'll at least try and keep myself a border with France so I can use the Holy Wars. But for now, I think we're actually ready to fight them. To fight the demons here. Problems as usual: Denmark, Oldenburg, Switzerland, Milan. So yeah, we'll get Milan no matter what we do. I believe I have truce with both Denmark and England. Yeah, I have truce with both, so that is fine. So we'll declare the Holy War here. Denmark will not be joining. Milan is probably the biggest threat besides, well, the French. So there we go. They have 22,000 troops already in one province here. But I guess we'll just send troops over and ready to fight. I think that is potentially the best way of doing this. So I got colonialism on the English. So they have actually started colonizing, and that is kind of bad. I need to sort that issue out rather swiftly. So if I take these 2, the English shouldn't be able to colonize that far. Also, if I vassalize Minster, that should kind of sort the problem by itself. English patriots in Northumberland, not really a good thing since I can't actually go up there and, well, manage the situation as it is. So I'm kind of screwed here. I guess we can take admin tech without suffering any harsh penalties. Improved drainage, level 13. Production efficiency increased by 10%, and I can now build plantations. Oh no, not really that interesting, but we'll do a little bit of a head count here. These have about 120,000. It's actually fairly even, so the manpower boost that I get is probably going to change or decide this war in this case, and hopefully the Ferraran troops can also make a difference. So we'll just fight this and see what happens. Well, apparently there were some extra troops here that I didn't actually notice. I'm not idea where those guys actually popped up from. They probably were in Rome. I think about 4,000 men here. a little bit too much for my little army here, so I'd like to retreat very much, thank you. I think we'll just aim at getting ourselves home through the Venetian lands and hide somewhere here. I have no idea if we can actually pull that off or not, but the fact that there were so many troops there kind of screwed me over, and we'll be hurting for a while due to that. The problem also is that the Ferraran troops can't actually escape, and right now I think with above 50,000 men in over here, we should actually just go ahead and go on the offensive. Just try and attack and destroy this army before it gets any reinforcements, and basically go offensive. This isn't a good thing because of the fact that my troops aren't the strongest that well, they aren't actually strong at all, no matter how you consider it. So it's kind of a risky maneuver, but as you can see, I think we will be actually not victorious here. We'll have to try and retreat to Toulouse and just try and panzer up, I guess I could say. These guys are actually going to be able to retreat, so that is great. But now they're suffering because of it. So we'll split our troops up and try and lure these guys in. I have no idea if they'll actually work out or not, but once those guys are out of the province, they'll probably attack. And just to make matters worse, we have some Protestant zealots up here. I think I can deal with them, so that shouldn't actually be a problem. But even so, the fact that Ferrari is under siege, we're already at -21 simply due to the battles here, so that sucks, but hopefully we can turn it around. We'll see how it goes. So, I guess here we will have the second great battle. I tried to send some troops to reinforce, but unfortunately they simply backed down then. But as you can see, we are suffering quite a bit of losses, but now we should definitely overpower the Frenchmen. We are still suffering quite a bit of losses on our troops, as you can see. We sacrificed about equal numbers, and considering our manpower generation rates, that is not bad. That is potentially what will what could win us this war. So we'll just continue on, well, I guess the same note, but for now we'll also retreat quite a lot. Well, this war will take a lot of time because we can't actually just move forward as brutally as possible. I honestly want to really hurt the Frenchies here, so we'll have to see how well it actually turns out, and if it's actually probable. If we can get Milan, for example, out of this war, I would be very much happy with that, but I have no idea if we can or not. And just to make things a little bit safer here, we'll spend 42 diplomatic power to reduce the war exhaustion. So, we'll continue the sieging war here and see what happens. Hopefully we can pull off a victory here, although I kind of doubt it right now. We'll see how it goes. As it looks now, I'm going to lose Yorkshire, and that is simply because of the fact that these guys can't actually raise an army. What I can do is try and hire mercenaries and see if these guys can actually dislodge them. And right now that's actually tempting. I do have a lot of cash, so it's not really that much of a pain to do. But even so, it's not really optimal that I have to spend 200-300 ducats to protect a province while I'm at war here. They will of course also most likely destroy that Burgundy army, but that should be fine. For some reason Algiers is actually in this war. Why is Algiers in this war? So apparently at least Milan is at war with the Mamluks and Algiers as well. But that is of course good, because they will be inadvertently, you might say, helping us. And unfortunately now I think I'll have to train my mercenaries somewhere else. But at least these guys now will be able to try and get that back. We'll also of course then get our mercenaries trained up, and then we'll be going after these guys. But once again, I need to really keep an eye down here, simply because of the fact that the Frenchies could really pose a pretty big threat if they actually march for me seriously. They do have a lot of troops in Ferrara right now. They don't really have that much to worry about, but I need to win battles in France itself, drive up the war exhaustion, force them to come home, and then hopefully destroy them that way. We'll see how it goes. This is kind of interesting battle. We were attacked by the French. They do have a fairly good general, which puts us in a disadvantage. And that definitely does as well. If these troops join in, then I have to actually dislodge their siege. We'll allow it to do one more tick and just see if we... No, we did not get that, so I kind of wasted a lot of time here, a lot of man. So hopefully these guys can actually push the battle back in our favor, and it doesn't actually look like they're doing that. They do have that negativity. We do have better discipline, we do have that better morale, but other than that we are kind of in trouble right now. How many have retreated here? Yeah, we kinda looking pretty bad here, so I guess we should just retreat. But once again, manpower is actually on our side, so dragging out this battle a little bit longer than actually needed is probably in our best interest. The only problem now is that these guys will probably retreat back to the Ottoman lands, and that will of course be terrible. So, how much morale do we have? 0.44, they have 0.63, and we lost. But luckily enough, we did not retreat into Ottoman lands. But as you can see, we suffered some extreme losses, about what? 56,000 versus their 30. So, not a good thing at all. At the very least, we did dislodge some... I solved this issue. That is good. But even so, as things are looking right now, they aren't good. We should probably get this army in action, try and hunt down some of the smaller armies over here. But even if we do that, it won't really matter too much as one might imagine. But hopefully here we can get these armies back. I'm kind of tempted to actually use money on a general right now, and I think I actually have money, military power, and I think I will do. Of course, we get a 5 maneuver guy, but that could actually be kind of beneficial right now. I've lost my reconquest against Naples, so Hawkiee has actually broken free, and as such, we'll just most likely do a take call on them fairly soon. But for now, we'll march our troops back to try and dislodge here. They should be regaining some men at the very least. As you can see, it's what, over 100k units, and just they're 1/3 of their usual power, missing 66,000 men. So, can we make an upset here? I'm kind of on the fence in this one. We do have a very problematic situation as things are currently standing. We have run out of manpower. We have 44,000 men. That is not that many when you consider that the French actually have better troops than us right now, due to the fact that they have become so high up in military department. But even so, we should be destroying them here, but we aren't, as you can see. We will probably be able to defeat them here, but that's about it, I think, I fear. But we won't even be able to defeat them here, so we should probably just retreat and try and see if we can make some sort of amicable peace deal, release a couple of nations, and hopefully then we can start picking on someone else. But yeah, this is definitely a big loss and it's my fault. I should have waited instead of challenging them in that first battle over here. So that is probably the exact reason why we lost. So 26% to give Ancona back to a papal state. It's actually kind of tempting right now. The fact that the province itself is worth 26% is kind of weird, but it's not that, how should I say it, it's not that surprising. I could release Bosnia, Bulgaria, some bigger nations, but the fact is, do I want to put myself that far behind? So if I were now to return Ancona to the Pope and pay him money, how would you feel about that? You don't want gold. So that kind of sucks. I'll try to make an amicable peace deal with them, and then I'll get back there. So, the easiest way to actually solve the current situation is actually to release Scotland, and I'm pretty sure I have calls on mostly everything of this. I'll be sacrificing, what, 2 provinces. I can also demand that Scotland release them, or simply create them as a vassal myself later. Yorkshire isn't actually called, so that's kind of annoying, but as you can see here, it's considered a core of Scotland, so... Why is it considered a core of Scotland? Well, it doesn't matter. I'll probably just go ahead here and release Scotland, and by that, I might set myself back a little bit, but I do have calls on the entire thing, and as far as I know, if I lose them in war, I shouldn't lose the calls. So, let's just go for this. Scotland and a little bit of cash. As you can see here, Ottoman will release Scotland as a sovereign state. Ottoman will pay 287 ducats with the Holy War Castle spell. France gains 18 prestige, blah blah blah, and 0.14 inflation. So I do have reconquest against Scotland right now, can't take everything back. So it's not really that much of a messy situation. I simply have to wait 5 years and probably fight 2 or 3 wars. But other than that, it should be fairly straightforward. The fact that the capital is the Western Isles is kind of weird, but something that I can live with. I also have a vassal spot open right now, so Münster, you are definitely a target here. The 2 prestige loss won't really bother me that much when you consider the consequences. The problem here right now is that my troops are virtually gone. So what we will be doing here, I think, is hiring a bunch of mercenaries to claim war on smaller nations that will actually bring me some manpower back in. I do have these 50,000 men, but that's about it. So we'll do a recovery next episode. Try to well, to some extent build back up. I probably need around 150,000 men against France. It seems like, at least right now. and I probably will have to use a bunch of mercenaries as well. So, military tech, we're already starting to lag behind. As you can see there, their troops are kind of better than mine, especially that general of theirs was scary, but nothing I can do with that. I'll simply have to wait. We'll probably go after some minor nations like Aragon, Castile, simply get them out of the way. Build up power to our vassals, get Savoy, a lot of these smaller targets. Destroy England once and for all is also of course important, and also take these two colonies of theirs. But we'll worry about that next episode. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment, praise, criticism, anything you feel like, and I'll see you around next time. Bye.